Powered by the Montana Television Network. Montana This Morning continues on Montana's News Leader.
16 states have already filed lawsuits against President Trump's emergency declaration on the southern border. I'm Mark Liverman with more on how the president is pushing back.
Citizens from all over the nation are choosing Bozeman. I'm Adair Babb, and coming up, I'll let you know why they're moving here.
Good morning to you. Thank you for joining us. Coming right up on 6:30 here on your Tuesday morning. As Mark Liverman mentioned a moment ago, just yesterday, 16 states filed suit against President Trump's emergency declaration on the southern border, while coast to coast people protested the White House strategy.
CBS's Mark Liverman has the latest.
From Santa Barbara to South Bend and other cities.
We've got to keep fighting against this emergency.
President Trump's plan to bypass Congress to build a border wall brought out protesters Monday.
Again, there's no emergency. The president himself admitted it last week when he says, I didn't need to do it. I just rather do it faster.
During Friday's emergency declaration, the president predicted lawsuits would follow.
Sadly, it'll go through a process and happily we'll win, I think.
Monday, California and more than a dozen other states filed a suit to block the move.
The president is overreaching. He's going beyond his executive powers, and he's doing this knowing full well that there is no emergency crisis at the border.
The president's emergency declaration is intended to secure billions in funding for the wall by diverting the money from defense and other departments.
Money that could be spent on taking care of veterans, money that could be spent on educating America, money that could be spent on infrastructure that would really make America better.
The White House plans to challenge the notion that the emergency declaration is unconstitutional.
If the president can't defend this country, then he cannot fulfill his constitutional oath of office.
President Trump vowed last week to take his fight to the Supreme Court. Mark Liverman, CBS News.
Now on Monday, Customs and Border Patrol confirmed the death of a third migrant at the southern border since December. The 45-year-old Mexican national who suffered cirrhosis and heart failure died after crossing the U.S.-Mexico border into Texas earlier this month.
Much more to follow on that. Matt joins us now. Boy, is it a cold start to the day. There's no way to sugarcoat it.
It's hard.
It's nasty.
Yeah. I walked out and I was like, what? I'm going to get back in, go home. Couldn't do that. Along with many of you this morning, temperatures are well below zero, 21 below zero in Butte, 11 degrees in Belgrade, 11 degrees in West Yellowstone. Temperatures by the afternoon expected to be into the teens with plenty of sunshine. We'll start to see the clouds building late in the afternoon into the evening, first west of the divide and then slowly migrating eastward. Our temperatures will at least try to make it into the 20s at points this week. We'll talk about the timing of that, our chances of snow, and much more coming up in about 10 minutes.
Thank you, Matt. Now 6:32. A bill up for debate in the Montana legislature would abolish the death penalty in the state.
Now, lawmakers heard testimony yesterday on House Bill 350. It's sponsored by Republican Mike Hopkins of Missoula and would replace the death penalty with a life sentence without the possibility of parole. Groups like the Montana Innocence Project and ACLU of Montana support the bill. The groups worry innocent people could end up on death row. Now, both organizations also argue the death penalty unfairly affects people from certain ethnic and economic backgrounds.
A person's chance of being executed goes up if they are not white, not wealthy, or not mentally sound. As I've said before in this committee, the only way to guarantee a fair system that does not put innocent people to death is to abolish capital punishment completely.
Former retired private defense attorney Ron Waterman.
This morning was pretty good.
Now, opponents of the bill argue the state already has the ability to sentence murderers to life in prison without parole. Some also testified that the only way to keep murderers from continuing to kill, even while in prison, is through the death penalty.
Now, legislative budget panels at the state capitol this week are wrapping up their first draft of the state's $10 billion two-year budget.
And one of the big areas of spending is for the correction department and the courts. MTN's Mike Dennison breaks down the budget.
The State Corrections Department had a nearly $4 million cost overrun this year and asked for another 3.5% increase over the next 2 years. But a joint appropriations subcommittee examining its budget voted Monday to keep the biennial increase at 1.6%. Panel Chairman Matt Regier, a Republican state representative from Columbia Falls, said lawmakers hope criminal justice reform passed in 2017 will start showing savings in corrections.
It is an increase, not near the increase that was asked for. It's more in line with an inflationary increase. Yeah.
The panel also scaled back by almost 1/3 the $12.5 million increase requested by the Office of Public Defender, whose budget has been steadily growing since its inception a dozen years ago. Here again, lawmakers expect sentencing reforms could help slow this budget growth.
Once those bills start taking effect, it takes a little while for those to go, but the hope is then that ripple effect will hit out even to OPD and save in the future caseload growth.
The longer discussion on this item Monday was whether cities and counties should pay more to support public defenders. Senator Ryan Osmundson of Buffalo said local governments sometimes pass and enforce laws leading to more criminal cases.
There are some challenges that we have with ordinances being passed by local cities that are costing the state. And all stakeholders do need to have, as they say, skin in the game so that all stakeholders are trying to watch the costs.
The committee requested a bill that could change local contributions, but members said the bill may just ask for a study of the issue that reports back to the 2021 legislature. The panel also approved state funding for drug treatment courts in Helena and Polson. But this is just the first step in crafting the budget. The huge public health budget has its first votes on Tuesday, and we'll have more details on the overall plan later this week. At the Capitol, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
The initial subcommittee recommendations go to the full House Appropriations Committee for the vote next month.
Shifting gears a bit, despite the snow and cold temperatures, fire mitigation experts say now is the time to start preparing your property for potential wildfires. That includes developing an evacuation strategy with the entire family in case a fire threatens the area, designate an emergency meeting location, have several escape routes, and plan for pets or any large animals. Homeowners should also start looking at their property, planning the work that will need to be done once the snow melts. Fire mitigation season officially kicked off last week, but fire experts say it really is a year-round activity.
I mean, it's no secret. Fires are getting bigger, hotter. The fire season itself is longer. And there's a lot more structures at risk. There's been a lot of building going on around the state of Montana, and much of that is in the wildland-urban interface.
Now, Fire Safe Montana recommends homeowner associations should get in contact with the organization now to start developing vegetation management and evacuation plans.
That's good to hear it.
Good
it's February and it's -20 in Butte, but it's good to hear it.
Absolutely.
And here's an interesting one for you. Home prices in Bozeman have gone up more than 20% in the last year.
At the same time, 3 to 4 people move to Bozeman every day. MTN's Medeiros Babb tells us why people are flocking to the city.
Individuals are looking at Bozeman and saying, bingo, that's my target. That's where I want to live.
It's clear that people keep moving to Bozeman, but why? Candace Dorsch says there are several factors, including Montana State University, the outdoors, the quality of life, and of course, the high-tech industry.
Bozeman has become the Silicon Valley of the Rocky Mountains.
Dorsch says now, for the first time ever, people are able to work in the high-paying jobs around the world and still live where they want by telecommuting or traveling via Bozeman Yellowstone International Airport on a Monday and flying back home to the Rocky Mountain West on Friday. One of the biggest draws from people moving from larger communities is that the homes are priced lower here than where they currently live.
So they can afford to spend $1 million or $750,000 on a house when they come here, and it's not near as expensive as where they're coming from. So that affects the market as well.
In Bozeman, Medeiros Babb, MTN News.
Now, more than 20% of the people who are moving to Bozeman and buying a home are paying with cash.
Wow.
Interestingly enough. I was not one of them all those years ago.
Wow. Wow. It is time for a quick break. Here's a look ahead on Montana this morning as well as CBS this morning.
Less stress and better sleep? We help you decide if all of the buzz over this type of blanket really is worth it or not.
Good morning. Ahead and only on CBS this morning, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders reveals he is running for president. He tells John what's different from 2016 and the plan to make health care accessible to all. And the first of our two-part interview with Dr. Priscilla Chan. She's opening up about life with her husband, Mark Zuckerberg, and their global health initiative to end all diseases. We'll see you at 7.